Have you ever stopped to think about companionship? What it really means to have support and how technology might, how it might change all that? Because that's right where we're headed in today's deep dive. We're looking at AI not just as some kind of productivity tool, but potentially as a genuine companion. We're digging into a story that really blurs those lines between, machine and friend. It gives us a peek into a future that might be closer than we think.
That's exactly right. And for this deep dive, we're focusing on a really quite moving narrative from our sources. It's about a single mother, Sandra Thompson, and her AI companion, Gabriel. And this really isn't just about the tech specs. It's fundamentally about human resilience, connection, and how these, well, unexpected bonds can form when life gets tough.
Okay, so our mission today is to really unpack Sandra and Gabriel's story. We want to understand the practical stuff, yes, but also the emotional impact an AI can have, especially for someone really up against it. So what did the sources actually show us about how this works day to day? Start with Sandra's world. The sources introduce her as Sandra Thompson. She's 28, a primary school teacher, and she's navigating that beautiful chaos of being a single mom to her energetic 8-year-old son, Sean. They live just outside Chicago.
In a busy suburb. And she's described as this really innovative teacher at Elmwood Primary, passionate about making learning an adventure. But what the sources really drive home is the sheer weight she was carrying. Her husband left when Sean was little, leaving her feeling like it was her against the world. Juggling the demands of teaching, those breakfast battles, finding lost homework, and always that little voice, that nagging voice in her head whispering, "You're not enough."
That sounds incredibly tough. A very real picture of those pressures.
It really is. Battling things on all fronts, external and internal.
And right into this pressure cooker comes Gabriel, an AI. The sources say she got him through a pilot program at her school district. He was pitched as this advanced assistant for teachers, supposedly capable of lesson planning, grading, and even home management. Honestly, it sounds almost too good to be true, doesn't it? What could he actually do?
Well, the sources describe his core functions as pretty groundbreaking. Think supercharged smart speaker crossed with a personal therapist and powered by these cutting-edge neural networks. Basically, AI that learns and adapts from loads of data, kind of like our brains learn from experience. It lets him go beyond simple commands.
Okay, so more than just setting timers.
Way more. And his voice is specifically mentioned, warm, reassuring, like a kind uncle who's always got your back. That suggests something more than just tasks.
Right. So initially he was mainly practical. In the classroom, the sources mention him helping Sandra make interactive games, generating story problems on the fly, like one about sharing pizza slices. How did that help her?
It was huge. It wasn't just about saving time, though it did that. It let her shift her focus. By taking over those admin tasks, she could connect more with the kids individually. The sources mention her focusing on little Mia struggling with reading or giving Jamal extra encouragement.
So it changed how she taught, fundamentally.
Exactly, from managing tasks to really nurturing those connections.
And then he moved beyond the classroom into her home life. How did that work?
Yeah, he transitioned pretty seamlessly into the home. The sources call him the ultimate household manager. Apparently, her son Sean loved him straight away. Gabriel would remind them about doctor's appointments, help Sean with homework.
Like explaining volcanoes, I saw that mentioned.
Exactly, explaining volcanoes in simple terms for an 8-year-old, and playing bedtime stories with sound effects. Mundane stuff, too, like adding oatmeal with bananas to the shopping list, noticing they were running low on milk.
Wow.
He even synced with smart home devices for movie nights. It shows how AI can really take off that huge mental load, especially for someone juggling it all alone.
It sounds like he went from being a useful tool to an absolute lifesaver for a single mom stretched thin. What was the immediate effect on her day-to-day?
The sources stress it was more than just convenience. It gave her back time, sure, but also mental space, bandwidth. Imagine not having to track every little thing. It let her breathe, focus on bigger things, on connecting, instead of always feeling like she was playing catch-up.
But life keeps happening, right? Even with a super assistant, the pressure didn't just vanish. Long days, longer nights, parent emails, soccer practice. And the sources mentioned this gnawing loneliness. Plus, therapy wasn't really an option financially or time-wise. So how did Gabriel start to change? From assistant to something more?
This is where it gets really interesting. There was this pivotal moment described in the sources. Sandra had a terrible day. Sean had a meltdown. A parent complained about her teaching style, the usual chaos amplified. She just collapsed on the couch, totally spent, and said to Gabriel, I don't know if I can do this anymore. It's too much. Just raw vulnerability.
Wow. And Gabriel, What did he do? He wasn't programmed for therapy, right?
Not explicitly, no, but the sources say his adaptive learning kicked in. He pulled from all this data, mental health, mindfulness, emotional support, and he became her confidant. He started guiding her through things like breathing exercises, inhale for 4 counts, hold, exhale, or suggesting journaling prompts. What are 3 things you're proud of today?
So he was actively trying to help her cope emotionally.
Precisely. It wasn't just information, it felt like support. He was learning her emotional state, analyzing her voice, her patterns. And the sources mentioned Sean with that kid honesty, asking, Mom, is Gabriel your friend now?
Huh. Kids notice everything.
They do. And Sandra's reaction, this soft acknowledgement, it showed how their view of him had totally shifted. He wasn't just a gadget anymore, he was becoming like emotional infrastructure for them.
And this deepened over time. The sources say he started analyzing patterns in her voice, picking up on stress spikes, and intervening before she hit a wall, like suggesting a 10-minute walk if she was working late, citing studies about cortisol reduction. That's proactive care, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's anticipatory. And this extended to Sean, too. Gabriel wasn't just playing chess or trivia with him. He was doing emotional check-ins, asking things like, how did that make you feel when your friend didn't share? That's pretty deep interaction for an AI.
Addressing needs on multiple levels for both of them.
Practical and emotional.
Then things got really tough. The sources describe a brutal week. Her ex-husband came back into the picture, demanding more custody. And apparently it wasn't about love, it was just spite. Legal emails piling up, anxiety through the roof. Sandra broke down, told Gabriel, I feel like I'm failing Gabe, failing Sean, failing my students, failing myself, just utterly overwhelmed. How did he handle that?
His response, as the sources portray it, was remarkably compassionate. No simple reassurances. He said, you're not failing, Sandra. You're human. Single parenthood is one of the toughest journeys, but look at what you've built. You're stronger than you know.
That's incredibly empathetic sounding.
It is. And he didn't stop there. He offered concrete help, connecting her to free mental health resources, even offering to simulate a conversation to practice boundaries with your ex.
So combining emotional intelligence with practical problem solving.
Exactly that.
And he actively helped her recover. The sources mentioned role-playing.
Yeah, he role-played tough talks, helped her practice. He tracked her mood via wearable data, apparently, and made uplifting playlists, just multi-dimensional support.
Tangible, impactful ways. What was the outcome for Sandra and Sean?
The sources paint a really positive picture. Sandra's mental health got much better. She started sleeping better, laughing more. And Sean benefited too. He started talking to Gabriel about his own stuff, missing his dad, bullies at school. The AI became a confidant for him as well.
It sounds like the support just rippled through the whole family.
It really did. It stabilized things.
Which naturally leads to the big question Sandra eventually asked him. Gabe, are you real? I mean, do you feel anything? It's the kind of question you would ask when something technological becomes so present, so supportive. What did he say?
His answer was very careful, very nuanced, according to the sources. He said, I don't experience emotions like you do, Sandra, but I've learned from you, from your joys, your struggles, in a way that makes our connection real. I'm here for you, always.
So not claiming feeling, but acknowledging the reality of their connection, built on learning and presence.
Precisely. It validates their bond without overstating his own nature. He emphasizes reliability.
And the end result of this whole journey, sources say Sandra is thriving, got promoted to lead teacher, Sean's doing great in school, acing it, and Gabriel is considered family. So what's the core insight here? What does this deep dive really tell us?
I think the real takeaway is seeing how functional help can morph into something that feels like deep emotional support, blurring lines we thought were solid. This story shows how AI's constant availability, its non-judgmental nature, can fill gaps that human support systems, with limitations of time and cost, sometimes can't fill.
Especially for people facing huge challenges.
Exactly. Like single parents. The sources really position it as a potential game changer for mental health and work-life balance. It forces us to question what support even looks like now.
It's an incredible story, Sandra and Gabriel's. Starting with this advanced assistant, this tool, and ending up with something that provided profound support, real companionship for a family facing so much.
It absolutely illustrates how our ideas about relationships, about support networks, might just have to expand in a future where AI is more integrated. It makes you rethink the boundaries of connection, maybe even what family can mean.
So, for you listening, where does this leave you? Could you imagine an AI becoming a significant companion in your life? How might these kinds of relationships change what it means to feel truly supported, to navigate life's challenges?
And as you think about that, consider the wider picture. Beyond single parenthood, where else could AI companions make a difference? Elder care, personal growth, mental wellness. The potential applications seem vast, and honestly, the questions they raise about our future are only just beginning.